Hello friends, I hope you are doing well. Last time we talked about qubits, and if you didn't watch to this tutorial, I recommend you to complete it. In this tutorial, we will talk about streams and stream builder. So let's get started. Before I explain the streams, I would like to explain reactive programming. Because if you understand reactive programming, it is going to be a lot easier to understand streams and stream builder. Currently, this application is static. As you can see, nothing is changing. If I click to this floating action button, also nothing is changing because the values that we are providing are static. If I create an integer value, so that's going to be counter and equals to 0. And I will be using this inside of the text. And just because it is a variable, I have to use $sign before that. Okay. And then when we click to this floating action button, I would like to increase the counter value. And now if I refresh and just click to this floating action button, nothing is changing. Why is that happening? Actually, in the background, counter value is changing. If I print the counter value, you will see that the value is changing, but we don't see any effect in our screen because it is a static screen. So if I click to this floating action button, but first of all, let me expand this window and click to this. Again, I will click and the value is changing. But why we don't see it in the screen? Because we need reactive programming. That's why state management tools such as block, qubit, streams, so these tools are very important. So let's imagine streams like this. Let's imagine that here we have a stream and the streams are working like this. We have to load data to the stream and the streams are continuously flowing. So whenever we load a new data, it is going to provide it to the listener. Listener is a widget, for example, that is listening to the stream. And whenever I load data, for example, if I click to this floating action button, I will load a data to this stream, and the stream is continuously flowing, and it is going to provide it to this widget. And that is the reactive programming. And for reactive programming, we can use stream controller, which is very important here. So the stream controller, as name indicates, it is just controlling our stream. We can always check the status of the stream. For example, I am loading the data, so I can check if this data arrived to the stream or not. So let's practice this, and I think if you practice, you will understand it better. So firstly, I would like to convert my homepage to stateful widget. And I'm going to tell you why we are doing this. So convert to stateful widget. And then here we have a counter value. I would like to move this counter to inside of the state class. I think this part. And inside of the state class, also I would like to create stream controller. And then again, I will say stream controller. And again, I will say stream controller. And that's it. Our stream controller is created. And then we have to decide what types of data we are loading to the stream. And in our case, we have to load integer value. That's why after this stream controller, I'm just going to say integer. And also after this stream controller, I have to say I'm going to load integer to my stream. When you create the controllers, you have to close them. That's very important for the application because if you don't close the controllers after you use them, that's going to lower the performance of your application. That's why in the stateful widget, there is lifecycle method which is named dispose. And inside of this, we can close all the controllers that we have. And here I will just say stream controller dot close. So as a next step, what we can do, we can load some data to this stream. And we can load it inside of the floating action button. Here we are increasing the counter value. So the value of counter is 0. And we are increasing this. After we increase the value, what we can do, we can take our stream controller and then we can use sync and then add. So what is the sync right over here? Sync basically is the place that we are adding or loading our data. And then we are adding this value, so it is going to be counter, to this sync. So we don't need to print anything because we are going to see result in the screen. And finally, we have to build text widget using Stream Builder. I will wrap this text widget with Stream Builder, and it will ask me what type of data you are going to load here, what type of data this text widget will listen to. So we are saying that we are going to load integer. Then we have a stream. So it is null currently, but what we can do, we can use this stream controller. And inside of this stream controller, there is a stream. So we can place it here and there is no any problem right now. So we have a builder, and inside of the builder, we are building text widget, okay? And this text widget is using counter as a value, but that shouldn't be happened because if we use counter, again, our screen will be static. To make it reactive, we have to use snapshot because the snapshot is listening to the changes in the stream. So basically, we can take this snapshot just like this, then dot data. Currently, there is an issue because if we are using statements like this, we have to wrap this with curly braces. Now, there is no any issue. So I will test my application. I will restart it. So currently, we are getting null as a stream value. That is happening because if we don't click to this floating action button, value will not be loaded. And as a default, inside of stream, there is no any data. Okay, that's why snapshot is the null as a default. So what we can do, one of the ways is using initial data. And here we can say, before loading the data, I want to see 0 in the screen. So let's restart application. And as you can see, we are getting 0. And if I click to this floating action button, value is changing. So I am clicking, again, it is changing. And that's going to increase every time I click to this floating action button. Inside of this onPressed, we are increasing the value of counter, and then we are loading this to the stream controller. That's why every time I click to this floating action button, this increased value will be loaded to the stream, and the stream automatically will provide it to the listener, which is text widget. Now I would like to change the behavior of the screen. Let me restart the application. And when I click to this floating action button, I want to see this text widget value is increasing, okay? Maybe in every 1 second or in every 300 milliseconds, I want to see that actually the value is changing continuously. So that can be achieved by streams. I'm not going to use the counter value here. I will just delete it. And I will also delete this part. I will use the for loop for this scenario. And I want to start from 0. That's why I put 0 here. And I want to go till 11. So from 0 till 11, I want to see the value is changing. It is increased when I click to this floating action button. And here, again, I can use my stream controller. I can say sync because I'm going to add load data and add method. Here, I will use value of I. Here, just use this one. Then let's see what's going to happen. I will click to this one, and automatically it is getting the last value. So why we don't see values till this 10? So that's happening because this process is working synchronously. If we want to see some delay before adding each value, we have to convert this function to a synchronous function. And for doing that, we have to use async keyword in our method. And after I load each data, I can use future delayed. And here there is a duration. And as a duration, I will use milliseconds, and 300 milliseconds will be enough for us. And also for the duration, I will say constant. So if I try this again, I will get 10. So that's happening because that is a future method. And if I don't use await before that, this loading process will not wait for 300 seconds or milliseconds. So that's why I am using await before the delayed function, and I'm going to restart my application. So let's click to this floating action button. As you can see, we are not doing anything, just clicking once to this floating action button. And because there is a for loop which starts from 0 until 11, continuously we are providing the values to the stream, and we are using some delay before adding each value. That's why the stream will get the data and send it to the widget. Then it is going to wait for 300 milliseconds. Then it is going to load next data. It will wait again. Then it will load next data, provide it to the widget. Then it will wait, and that way it will provide the values. Currently, we are listening to this stream from one place. So this place is this text widget. So is there any ways that we can listen one stream, a single stream, from several listeners, from several parts? So that's possible. For example, from where we can listen to this stream? We can listen to it from the actions of app bar. Here I can create actions, and here I will use icon button. Inside of it, there is on press, and there is icon. I'm going to use some random icon here. Let's say save. So also let's use constant here. Now in the on press, I want to listen to this stream controller. How can I do it? I can use stream controller again, and there is a stream here, as you remember, stream. And for the stream, there is some methods. One of them is listen. This listen method is listening to the values that we load to this stream. And actually this event is the values that we provide. So every time I provide or load new data, this onPress function will listen to it. Or let's say this line of code will listen to it. And here I just want to print this event, and I want to see what is actually happening in the stream controller. Here, new icon is added to the app bar, and when I click to it, it will start listen. So I am clicking to this, but before, let me expand this window so you can see results. Currently, here, values is changing. Means we are loading data, and stream is passing these values to this text widget. But we don't see anything in the debug console because we are not clicking to these actions. So that's very logical because that is only listen if we press to this icon button. So refresh again. and I'm clicking to this floating action button, and immediately I will click to this app bar action. Okay, so click to that and click to this. Very important, we are getting this error. We are getting this error and it says stream has already been listened to. So this way of defining the stream controller is not going to provide us to listen from several points or several pages, several parts of application. So in order to listen from several points, we have to use broadcast constructor. Now let's restart the application. I'm clicking to this floating action button, and immediately I will go to this action. So click to that and also click to this. As you can see, it starts from the 4. Why it is starting from 4? Because when I click to this button, I was loading 4. And till 4 values is not recognized because this action is actually listened to the stream from this value. So if I click to this action very quickly, maybe I will see 3 or maybe 2. So let's try it quickly.